Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I give you a breakdown of exactly what's going on with Bitcoin, what we need to be looking at over the next 4 days of that weekly candle close, what we need to be looking at in regards to that 28 to 28.6K resistance that we are struggling to get above at this point in time. But most importantly, in the second half of this video, so you can zoom forward if you want to, we will be discussing a head and shoulders market pattern that has encompassed the entirety, right, of this move since March, this range since March. So a very big head and shoulders market pattern that's actually targeting a breakdown to 19,000 USD on Bitcoin. That's big and that's very bearish. So we'll look into the validity of that and when I will start to take it super seriously, and if I'm taking it seriously now, right? So big market pattern there, big claims, big stuff to look at. Let's get into it. Okay guys, short one today. Because we have only a few charts to look into, but the content itself is actually very important. Before we get into any of it though, we're going to check out the VIP group on Telegram. This is the information and results group. So you can see on this group here on Telegram, it's free to join. You'll find it in the description below. You can check out the prices. You can check out what you actually get for the group in the photo. You can check out the 14-day free trial, the 30-day free trial actually. And then also you can check out the VIP trading results historically. So VIP group on Telegram, we trade altcoins, have been very profitable. And we will be very profitable in the future. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. All right, let's get into the content now without further ado. All right, so basically we're going to start by looking at this chart here. We always do, every video over the past basically 3 months we've started by looking at this chart. I'm going to do it again today, just a quick 60 seconds overview. What is this chart? This is the range-bound construction chart on Bitcoin. You can see that you have different rectangles, 4 different rectangles, all of which are color-coded. What we are in right now is the green rectangle, which represents the range between 24.5K and 32K. And the other rectangles represent previous ranges we've been in on Bitcoin. But currently that is the range, right? 24.5K to 32K. We break above 32K, we enter this pink range, and that is where we saw the vast majority of the bull market returns in 2021 and very high volatility. So we want to be doing that. We want to be getting above 32K, and we want to be avoiding dropping below 24.5K, because if we drop below 24.5K, we're re-entering the previous range and we're re-entering where we saw the vast majority of the bear market consolidation and low volatility. So it's quite simple. The two levels, 24.5 and 32. We can then kind of pinpoint the levels a bit further by looking at this chart here. Now this is the Bitcoin daily chart, and in pink, in the pink lines, you'll see 24.5K and 32 as we just referenced in the screen box here. Those are the critical levels. We're zoomed into the range, right? And as you can see, within this range, we have a couple of interesting lines. We have, for example, this red box. Now this red box is kind of like the dividing line within the range. It's the line in the sand within the range that separates the upper range, right, from the lower range, right? And this red box stems from 28K to 28.6K, and basically it's come to be, it's come to existence by looking at the volume profile, which I actually don't have the screen here. Let me bring it up. Now, what you'll see on the side of the screen is the volume profile, and as you can see on the volume profile, we have a huge spike, right? A massive spike in volume around that 28K level, and 28.6K is where we found support during this bounce over here. So between 28 and 28.6K is kind of, as I said, the dividing line within the larger range, which is made up between the two pink lines. Right now, we are struggling. We are struggling on Bitcoin to get above that red box. We've struggled in the past, right? I'm circling times in which we've struggled, and we're struggling now. And so until we get above that red box, until we definitively break above 28.6K and close above it, not only on a daily candle, but a couple of daily candles, and flip it and close a weekly above it, until we do that, Bitcoin is actually at strong resistance and the chances of rejection are still quite high, right? So ideally, we need to be getting above that red box. We've failed to do so. We've seen, if we zoom in, for example, go to the hourly chart or something like that, we've seen a pennant formation that actually broke to the upside and immediately got knocked back down. We're still consolidating quite closely there. So overall, nothing has happened yet. We're not in any definitive breakout, and we're certainly not in a good formation, because this is actually reminding me quite a lot of kind of like a top formation. Generally, when we reach these tops, for example, over here, we see these rounding patterns, right? These nice rounding patterns that generally lead to downwards moves. So I'm not very confident in Bitcoin's structure right now. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and say it's bullish or bearish. I don't know, because there's no clearly identifiable market pattern at this point in time. I suppose if you wanted to stretch your imagination, you could say that this is the market pattern. It's something like this, right? Something like an ascending broadening wedge formation. That could be the market pattern, I suppose, and that would be a bearish market pattern, but I personally don't see that as ultra valid. I would say I need to wait for a little bit more confirmation. But yeah, look, if I was going to push my imagination, I would say yes, the Bitcoin is in a bearish market pattern here, and it's certainly not in a good market pattern because we've got a rounding top. We know that to be a fact. We've got this rounding top here, so Bitcoin is at strong resistance. It's forming bearishness. It's showing weakness, and we need to be seeing something big soon. Now, this weakness that we're seeing on the hourly chart, this weakness that we're seeing on the daily chart with these big wicks to the upside and ultimately failure to break out, this could be reflected on the weekly chart soon, unfortunately. The weekly chart, however, is still looking okay, right? But we've still got 4 days until the weekly candle close. So in the next 4 days, Bitcoin needs to prove itself. How can it prove itself? Well, Bitcoin needs to prove itself by closing at an adequate weekly chart price that would lead to a breakout of this RSI descending wedge formation. You see down here on the screen, we've got this RSI descending wedge. We are currently in a pending breakout. It's not confirmed yet because we haven't seen the close. But look, if we want to actually straighten it up a little bit, we can see it's not confirmed yet. We haven't seen the close. But overall, we've got 4 days until the weekly candle close, and it's the bull market support band that we're really looking at. If we can close above this bull market support band in 4 days, which is sitting currently, right, at around 27.9K, at around 28K, basically conveniently at the bottom of this red box, right? You can say it's a coincidence, but in reality, TA is all connected. It's there for a reason. What I'm saying is if Bitcoin can close the weekly candle within or above this red box, okay, within or above 28K in 4 days, we're actually in a pretty decent position, regardless of what the short-term TA suggests, because we would be in a position to break out, as I said, of this weekly RSI descending wedge, and we would be in a great position to close above the weekly chart bull market support band, which we previously rejected from on multiple occasions, right? So realistically, what are we looking for on Bitcoin? Well, what we're looking for, we're looking for short term to look good. Medium term, we need to look good. But overall, realistically, what we're looking for is a good weekly candle close. And all we need to do to have that is the close above 28K. If Bitcoin closes the weekly above 28K, it looks quite good. So that's the key reality of what we need to be seeing. But now I want to get into, and I probably should have got into this first, right? Because it's probably the most pressing matter. The absolute key topic of this video, right? And it's something that a lot of people have been very scared of. It's this big formation here. Now, you might think, what do you mean, Wolf? What formation? I can't see anything. I'm going to show you right now. We have a potential, okay? A potential head and shoulders formation forming here on Bitcoin. All right. If we go to like 25K-ish, 24.5, whatever it may be, and we form the left shoulder here, down to the neckline, the right shoulder up to here, down to the neckline, the head, down to the neckline, which is roughly, right, realistically, it could be down here, it doesn't really matter. That's the neckline. And then we go up to the peak of the right shoulder. We can see that Bitcoin very well could be forming, all right, some sort of large, high time frame, head and shoulders market pattern. And if that is the case, that would mean that the neckline, okay, is at the bottom of the current range at around 24.5K. And that would mean that breaking the neckline would be a break of the current range, and breaking the neckline would hence bring us back into the orange range, right? And if we're taking a measured move from this head and shoulders candlestick formation, how do you take measured moves? You take a measured move from the peak of the head to the neckline, right? And you apply it to the breakout point. That would bring us to a target of around 19K. Now, conveniently, 19K is the bottom of this orange range. So if this head and shoulders market pattern does play out, if we do break the neckline, we would be targeting a retest of the bottom of the orange range. Now, if that was to occur, that actually wouldn't be the end of the 4-year cycle theory. It wouldn't really be the end of the world. It would be a very, very, very significant setback. But technically speaking, it is possible within the bounds of the 4-year cycle. It is possible within the bounds of Bitcoin's regular market cycle. It would just be a massive setback. So that's a threat. That's a big threat. Now, I'm not willing to go ahead and say that I'm super bearish on Bitcoin at the moment based on that, because I don't think you can say that a market pattern is fully valid until it breaks out. In the same way that if there was a triangle formation, for example, you can understand that the triangle is valid. You can understand that the price is acting within the bounds of a triangle. But until there's actually a breakout with follow-through volatility, with follow-through volume, you can't be overly confident in the price prediction based on that triangle. So I'm not going to go ahead and predict anything for Bitcoin because I don't think we actually have the means to do that. I also think that this range is extremely unique because I understand that basically what we've done in this range is we've seen a double top, okay, and a double bottom within the same range, right? That is not something you see very often as well. I also understand that this range has only existed for this period of time. We've only seen this dramatic amount of price action within the same range for 7 months because of the ETF narrative. The ETF narrative, the same narrative that led us to pump 2,000 USD in 7 minutes the other day when we saw a fake ETF approval release. So fact of the matter is, this range is artificial to a certain extent. We know that to be true. We know that Bitcoin long-term holder supply has been at the maximum it's ever been during this range. We know that volatility has been the lowest it's been since 2019 during this range. We know this range is driven by basically a fundamental narrative that kind of brings TA and puts it aside in its little box in the corner. So this range, in a sense, is artificial. And so to fully trust a market pattern that isn't actually confirmed yet is a little bit optimistic, in my opinion. So I'm not going to go ahead and say that this market pattern is making me bearish per se. I would still say that I'm neutral in the market right now. Now, what I will say is that if Bitcoin comes down and fails this weekly candle close, right, fails to close above 28K in the weekly, if Bitcoin goes and, rejects from this red box and starts moving downwards again, if Bitcoin loses, its trend of seeing higher lows and it starts going down to that like 26K region, then I can start to say, okay, this head and shoulders candlestick formation needs to be taken with a degree of confidence now. It's getting a little bit rough in the Bitcoin charts. If we see, for example, an ETF rejection, I can start to take it a little bit more seriously. But right now, I would simply say that there is too much uncertainty to be confident in any particular bias. And this is a position I've held for a long period of time. Look, I want to be very clear when I say this. I'm not sitting here saying I'm bullish on Bitcoin because I'm not bullish on Bitcoin. That's not what I am. Yeah, maybe macro scale. Maybe if you're talking on a yearly basis, yeah, okay, cool. I'm bullish on Bitcoin because I believe in 4-year cycle. But if you're talking, this entire range, in this entire range for the last 7 months, I've said consistently over and over again, I am neutral on Bitcoin because we are in a range-bound construction, and this range is to a degree artificial based on the narratives that have been forming around ETFs. I've understood that for a long period of time, and I've remained true to what I said the entire time in this range. I believe that I will not be overly bullish or overly bearish on Bitcoin until we see a break of this range. Until we see a break of 24.5K, I will not be overly bearish. Until we see a break of 32K, I will not be overly bullish. I am currently on the fence about Bitcoin, and I think that argument, of being on the fence, that argument of being neutral right now, although it might seem like a cop-out, I want to be very clear. I think it's very well supported. If the market had a clear, defined, stronger argument, if the bulls were definitively stronger, or if the bears were definitively stronger, we wouldn't have been going sideways for the last 7 months. I am neutral because the market is neutral, and that's the reality of the situation for Bitcoin right now. But I want to make you aware of that. We do have a big threat. There is a big threat on the horizon. This is very dangerous for Bitcoin. We have a large head and shoulders market pattern that we need to be watching. We need to be looking out for. And specifically, we can zoom in. We can look out for smaller things within that and get warning signs. We can look at the weekly chart close. We can look at this red box at 28K to 28.6K, and we can get warning signs for what might come. We do know as well that there is a bear case that has already existed for Bitcoin that I spoke about in a while. I've spoke about for quite a while now, and that is the logarithmic chart diagonal head and shoulders candlestick formation that broke down. This is ultimately becoming invalid as time progresses because we've now moved upwards back towards the breakdown point. I would say that head and shoulders candlestick formation, it's not a candlestick, a market pattern, I should say, has been invalidated. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. But we do still have quite interesting lines on Bitcoin, lines that have stemmed back from 2017 that could hold for support down at, 23K, 24K, and lines that have stemmed back from, 2021 top, which have held for resistance as recently as this week. So, interesting stuff all around the charts, but we're ultimately still waiting for more clarity. This has really been a waiting game the last 7 months. I know it's been a bit of a mess, really. I mean, the price chart has been a mess. There's no way around it, but we do have definitive things we are looking at, like 28.6K to 28K, like the bull market support band weekly candle close, like that head and shoulders market pattern. We've got things to look at, and that's all we need. We can keep monitoring those, and then finally, when we see some developments, the price action, we can start to actually have a proper opinion form rather than just I'm on the fence. So, guys, thank you for watching. Check out the Bingx and Bitget exchange. I will leave those links in the description below. So first and foremost, we've got Bingx, and this is an exchange that's global, so you can sign up from anywhere in the world with just an email address and a password and trade in this exchange. And then also we've got Bitget, which is basically global minus for US and Canada, and you can sign up KYC. Okay, so you need to link your identity to this exchange. For those people who want a more an exchange where you link your identity, I mean, this one's for you, and the other one you don't have to link anything to, and it's global. That one's for you. Both are very low trading fees. I've selected them, I've handpicked them. I've been advertising Bitget for a long time, started Bingx a few months ago. Again, handpicked, 15% trading fee discount for signing up using my referral link, as well as exclusive rewards, up to 8,000 USD rewards in Bitget and up to a few thousand on Bingx. So go ahead and do that if you're interested. Helps the channel and helps you get on a good exchange. And then finally, Crypto Academy. If you want to learn how to trade, we've developed the Become a Trader 10-unit course, myself and Mega Crypto, who's another YouTuber in the cryptocurrency space. And you can read up all about this course on the website, as well as throw us an email using the email address link at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you with all the payment information and answer any questions you might have. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.